The Washington Post calls the rip-fine genre fair. Not bad, not great, just fine. And that single word is where this conversation begins. Because fine is what we say when we don't want to sit with discomfort. Tonight, I'm not reviewing the Rip. I'm reviewing how we review movies. And why that matters more than we think. The article opens by lowering the bar. If you like grimy crime flicks, you'll like the Rip. If you don't, you won't. That sounds reasonable, almost responsible. But when did criticism become customer service? At some point, reviews stopped asking, "What does this say about us?" and started asking, "Who is this for?" That shift seems small. It isn't, because art doesn't survive by pleasing everyone. It survives by confronting something true. And when critics reduce stories to preference, they quietly teach us to stop expecting meaning. The article makes a smart observation. We can separate actors like Damon and Affleck from their past roles. That's true. We don't watch them as characters. We watch them as history. But the article stops there. It never asks the deeper question: why do we trust familiar faces more than unfamiliar ideas? Familiarity is comforting because it lowers cognitive effort. We don't need to think as much. We already know these men. And that's exactly why casting them in a story about corruption is so brilliant. Because when trusted figures compromise, it mirrors something uncomfortable about ourselves. We excuse wrongdoing much faster when it comes from people we recognize. The article notices the baggage, but never bothers to unpack it. Most of the review is just descriptive. It talks about grit, yelling, cliches, long action scenes, and genre tropes. But description is easy. Understanding is hard. The real work begins when we ask, why this story? Why now? We are living in a time where systems reward performance, not integrity. Where loyalty collapses under financial incentive. And where fairness is entirely conditional. A movie about cops finding a pile of money and debating whether to take it isn't just random entertainment. It's a mirror, but the article treats it like a checklist. Grimy, check. Loud, check. Predictable, check. That's not criticism, that's just taking inventory. The reviewer briefly mentions that the best parts of the film happen inside a single house, and then just moves on. That's a huge mistake. Confined spaces are never accidental in storytelling. Philosophy has always loved rooms, caves, and cells. Why? Because isolation strips away performance. Inside a closed space, reputations don't matter, institutions can't intervene, and all excuses disappear. What remains is pure choice. The house in the Rip isn't just a location. It's a moral experiment, a pressure cooker designed to reveal what people become when no one is watching. And yet, the review never treats it as one. This is where the article almost becomes important. Almost near the end. It mentions that if the Rip performs well on streaming, everyone who worked on it gets a bonus. That's not just a piece of trivia. That's philosophy happening in real life. The movie is about people bending the rules when a reward is introduced. And the real-world industry experiment does the exact same thing. Fairness only exists if performance targets are met. So we're left with a question the article completely avoids. Is morality still morality if it's conditional? If workers are treated fairly only when the numbers go up, is that justice or just a well-designed incentive? The film and the system that made it are mirroring each other perfectly. And the review just walks right past it. Calling something fine sounds harmless, but it's a cultural anesthetic. It dulls our curiosity. It tells the audience, don't think too much. Don't expect any depth. Just consume this and move on. But here's the danger. When critics stop demanding meaning, audiences stop looking for it. And when we stop looking for meaning in our stories, we eventually stop looking for it in our own lives. That's not being dramatic. That's just cultural drift. This isn't about defending the Rip. The movie doesn't need defending. This is about how icily we accept shallow engagement with stories that are clearly touching on something real: corruption, incentives, loyalty, performance-based value. These aren't genre clichés. They are the very architecture of modern life. The review asks, will enough people like this movie? The real question is, what does it say that we recognize ourselves so clearly in it? Maybe The Rip doesn't transcend its genre. But maybe the real problem is that we stopped asking our genres to transcend anything at all. This is 9. We don't rate movies, we question what they reveal. Thanks for watching.